Now, this is a very nostalgic televisual video for those of you aged 40 and over, really. You've got to be at least 40 to really know about this. How many of you used to watch Wacaday with Timmy Mallett as a child, the delightful Timmy Mallett, the eccentric, colourful Timmy Mallett? How many of you watched this show? And is there anybody out there who was on the show as a child, on Timmy Mallett's Wacaday, which was on from the mid-80s until, I believe it was 1992, on TVAM, Breakfast TV, which then became GMTV, and of course now is Good Morning Britain. But Timmy Mallett, we don't see so much of him now, do we? But he was big. I think the last big thing he did was Celebrity Big Brother, wasn't it? But I don't generally really look at those kind of things. But yeah, I was 11 in 1991, August 1991, my first TV appearance, something I'm very proud of. And yeah, before I go any further, were any of you on Wacaday? There must have been obviously hundreds of contestants. It was on in the summer holidays, wasn't it, for about 7 years with Timmy Mallett on Breakfast TV. And or were you a fan? Now, I think it was my grandmother who put in an application for me to go on Wacaday when I was 11, and we heard back. I think it was pretty quickly, and I remember the letter was from the production company, which at the time was a company called Clear Idea, I think. Clear Idea, and I've probably still, well, my family have probably still got the letter somewhere, and it was all very straightforward. And it was August the 1st, a really sunny day, 1991, in Camden Lock, where the TVAM sort of space age looking TVAM studio was. And the building's still there. I think it was Channel 5 are in there now, or they were in there, in the sort of space age looking building in Camden, Camden Lock. Yeah, so we got put up in a fairly posh hotel. I think it was a Hilton, Park Lane, I think it was. It was fairly posh. And, we could have whatever we liked, my mum and I. And then we got picked up obviously driven to the studio. And I was on with a young girl, obviously my age, about 11, who was called Aisha, Afro-Caribbean London girl from Holloway. Now, I can't remember her surname. I'd love to see her again. Find out if you're out there, if you're watching this. Her name was Aisha, and she was from Holloway in London, and she was on the show with me on Wacaday, and obviously for a whole hour live. It was live for a whole hour, and we had a very short rehearsal. I think it was only about 45 minutes to an hour, if that, of preparation behind the scenes before going into the studio. And it was just, it all just flowed so great. It was so idyllic. There was no nerves, nothing at all. Obviously, we were dressed up in our colourful clothing, me and my Bermuda shorts, sandals. I was wearing socks and sandals, I think. I remember sitting with Aisha and her family and my mum, and we were sitting in the waiting area before we went on. There's a lovely young lady who did the rehearsals with us, and I won by about 1 point, or by one or two places. Very, very close. We almost drew, but I won the Mallett's Mallet. Do you remember the game where you get banged over the head with a a sponge mallet? And I won, but only just. So it was quite close. And anyone who was a fan, you will also remember the karaoke and whack karaoke. And I think because at the time I'd sort of been brought up mainly on classical music. I didn't get into pop really until I was about 13, and wasn't paying that much attention to the charts at the time, and I was asked to sing Chesney Hawkes' "I Am the One and Only," and didn't really know the song, but it seemed to come out quite well. Apparently, I did quite well, and I ended up sounding a bit operatic. um, yeah, so I ended up sounding a bit classical when I was singing it. Still got the VHS, still got the videotape of it, and yes, it was "I Am the One and Only," and by Chesney Hawkes, which was out at the time in '91, and I'm certainly the one and only. I can tell you that. Many of you will agree. But yeah, it came out quite well apparently, even though I didn't really know the song and I was just plunged in at the deep end, totally in the flow, spontaneous. And the other thing that happened was uh, when they asked for my list of hobbies, I think I said swimming. Well, that's fairly standard. Swimming, running, badminton. I was into badminton at the time. Swimming, running, badminton, and maths. Now, I loved maths when I was at junior school, and I still do like a bit of arithmetic. But yeah, I loved maths, and at the time, and oh, they were horrified in the studio. Maths. Oh, how can anybody say maths as something they like or as a hobby? I can't believe I said that. Timmy Mallett was outraged, and they were all laughing. Maths. But so that was probably not my best moment, but I think the karaoke was a good moment. Timmy Mallett was fabulous. Many of you will be fans of Timmy Mallett. Seems, a very humble, real guy. Certainly original. And I haven't seen him or spoken to him since 1991. But what was I going to say? Just to sort of start to wrap up the video. Yeah, so, oh yeah, that's right. We got a call from some theatre director in the West End. I think it was about a month after, or a couple of weeks later, if that. Mum and I got a call from a theatre director saying he wanted to audition me for a West End show because he'd seen me singing on Wacaday. I Am the One and Only by Chesney Hawkes, and he, yeah, so it must have been good, even though I didn't really know the song. Now, we got back to him, but I think it was too late when we got back to him. We didn't get back to him in time, or I suppose maybe I didn't realise how good an opportunity that was going to be, or could have been. I know you should never say shoulda, coulda, woulda. Maybe we missed it. Maybe I was meant to miss it. Maybe it wouldn't have been that great. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, so we got this phone call from a theatre director, and I think we were too late in calling back. They'd already selected somebody, I suppose, or they were much further down the auditioning process. I don't know, but I remember phoning back and a little bit sort of spasmodic about it and shocked and not really knowing what was happening there. And yeah, we didn't hear anything back. So I'm guessing I was too late. Yeah, I wonder who did get the part and whether it went ahead or not. I don't know. Don't even know what show it was now. But that's really flattering, and I think back to that, and yeah, that was what came out of Wacaday as a result of being on there. But then, I think virtually the whole of secondary school, the first 3 years of secondary school, because that was August 1991, and then in the September, I went on to secondary school. So a month later, and honestly, it was Wacaday, Wacaday, Wacaday. For about 3 years when I was at school, people were on about it and saying, Wacaday, Wacaday, Wacaday. Just thinking about it now, it went on all the time, for the first 3 years until I was about 14, first 3 years of secondary school. Wacaday, Wacaday. It was just everywhere, and people were, I think they were kind of like admiring me, sort of fans, but also taking the mick a bit as well. And did I like it? So I'm not sure how I felt about it really, but for about 3 years it was, people were on about Wacaday, Wacaday at school. Um, and as I said, I haven't seen Timmy Mallett since. Lovely guy, from what I can see, and a real original, a real eccentric. I mean, that show. I mean, and the theme that day for Wacaday was Egypt. So I remember they had "Walk Like an Egyptian" by the Bangles on there, and they had documentary. Timmy Mallett went out to Egypt, and that was on there as well. And oh, um, but just such a magical time, magical experience. August 1st, 1991. Sunny day, a bit like it is at the moment. We've got wall-to-wall sunshine, haven't we? This beginning of April 2025. Unusual, but it's going to go on for at least a week by the looks of it. So yeah, were you on Wacaday? Were you a fan of Wacaday? Do you have any memories of it? And I'd love to find Aisha, the girl that I was on with. She was from Holloway, Afro-Caribbean girl, and can't remember her surname, but I wonder how she is now. And you never know, she might see this video, and we'll go for coffee maybe, or maybe she'd rather forget it. But yeah. Yeah, that's it. I remember she was from Holloway, but I don't remember much else. And she'd be my age now, so mid-40s. And yeah, I mean, she might not even be in London anymore, but you never know. It's a small world. So yeah, today we're talking about Timmy Mallett and about Wacaday.